At my son's wedding, right there in front of 200 guests, he slapped me across the face because I refused to give him $1 million. He called me selfish, but the truth is he was the selfish and cruel one. Just a month earlier, when his father passed away, I had begged him to come home. If you're listening to this, please like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment about where you're tuning in from. But he coldly said, "I'm busy with my girlfriend." That wound never really healed. So when he humiliated me that day in the middle of the ballroom, I walked out in tears. 30 minutes later, I made a single phone call. And what happened after that changed his wedding forever. I remember holding Michael's hand until it grew cold in mine. The doctor had already covered him, but I couldn't let go. Not yet. My throat burned as I whispered, "He's gone, Ryan. Your father's gone. Please come home." My fingers trembled while I typed the message, staring at the screen, waiting for those 3 little dots to appear. They never did. Just one short reply came back, sharp as a knife. "I'm busy with my girlfriend. I can't come." I read it twice, thinking maybe I was seeing it wrong. But the words didn't change. Busy with his girlfriend while his father had just died. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. So I just sat there, clutching Michael's hand, my tears falling on the white hospital sheet. When the nurses gently pulled me away, I had no one left to lean on. Ryan didn't walk through those doors. He didn't even call. When the funeral director handed me the papers to sign, I filled out every line alone. "Do you have any family to help with arrangements?" he asked softly. I forced a smile I didn't feel. "No," I said. "It's just me." The days that followed were a blur. I folded Michael's best suit, the one he wore every Christmas, and placed it carefully inside the casket. I slipped his wedding ring into his pocket and whispered, "Take a piece of me with you." Every little task crushed me, but I did it alone. Neighbors came by with casseroles and kind words. One woman, holding a tray of lasagna, asked, "Where's Ryan?" I swallowed hard. "He's busy," I said. That word had become a wound, busy. Always busy unless he needed something. At night, I'd sit at the kitchen table surrounded by bills and silence. Sometimes I'd check my phone hoping he might finally call. But all I saw were photos. Pictures of Ryan at fancy dinners, his arm around his girlfriend, smiling like nothing had happened. Not even a shadow of grief touched his face. The day of the funeral came. The church was filled with soft hymns, whispers, and the scent of lilies. But there was no sign of my son. People asked gently if he was delayed, maybe stuck at work. I nodded, pretending to believe it. But I knew the truth. He had chosen not to come. He had chosen her instead. I gave the eulogy alone, my voice trembling as I spoke about Michael. His kindness, his patience, the life we built together. My eyes drifted once toward the empty pew where Ryan should have been sitting, and my chest tightened until I thought I might collapse. After the service, I lingered at the gravesite, watching the dirt fall over the man who'd been my partner for 42 years. I whispered, "I'll protect what we built. I promise." Then my purse buzzed. For one brief second, hope flickered. Maybe Ryan finally cared. But when I looked, it wasn't a call, it was a text. "I'll see you at the wedding." My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. The wedding. He hadn't come to bury his father, but he expected me to show up to watch him marry her. I stared at the screen until it went black. My tears dried into anger I didn't know I still had. For weeks I had begged my son to come home to honor his father. But all I got in return was silence, and then a wedding invitation. I pressed the phone to my chest, whispering into the quiet, "Michael, your son has changed. And I don't know if I can forgive him." The house felt too empty. Michael's chair still sat in the corner, his glasses folded neatly on the side table. I was staring at a pile of bills when the envelope came, cream paper, heavy gold lettering. My hands shook as I tore it open. "Ryan and Jessica invite you to celebrate their wedding." Less than a month after I buried his father, my son was preparing to marry. I read the invitation again, hoping I was wrong, that my eyes were playing tricks. But no, the date was clear. Just weeks away. When he finally picked up my call, his voice was light, almost cheerful. "Hey Mom, you got the invitation, right?" "I did," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Ryan, it's too soon. Your father just..." He cut me off. "Dad's gone, Mom. I can't stop living my life because of that. Jessica and I want to start fresh. This wedding is important." My throat burned. "You didn't even come to his funeral," I said, my voice trembling. "Do you have any idea how that looked? How that felt. Ryan sighed, impatient. Mom, I told you I was busy. You always make everything about feelings. You should be happy for me. Jessica makes me happy. Happy? I whispered, my voice cracking. Do you really think your father would be proud of this? A wedding so soon after his death. Silence. Then coldly he said, Dad would want me to be happy. Stop making this about you. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles ached. I buried your father alone, Ryan. Alone. Do you understand that? He exhaled sharply. Look, I don't want to fight. Just be there, okay? It's my big day. Bring yourself and what we talked about. My stomach dropped. What we talked about? What do you mean? His tone lowered. The inheritance, Mom. You know it'll be mine eventually. Why not make it useful now? Jessica and I could really use it. Think of it as your wedding gift to us. I froze. You're asking me for money? After everything? Not money, he said quickly. $1 million. The inheritance. You have it, don't play dumb. We could use it for our honeymoon, maybe even a down payment on a house. It's not like you'll need all of it. My breath caught. $1 million? You think I'll just hand that over like it's pocket change? He let out a short, bitter laugh. Why not? What are you saving it for? You're 67, Mom. You can't take it with you. Help us now when it actually matters. I couldn't even speak. My own son was telling me I was too old to need the life savings his father and I worked for, decade after decade. My hands shook as I gripped the counter, staring at Michael's empty chair, hearing his voice echo in my head. Protect what we built. Ryan, I whispered, my throat tight. Your father worked his whole life for that. For us, for the family, not for greed. He laughed, sharp, cruel. It's called starting a future. You wouldn't understand. Just bring it to the wedding, Mom. We'll talk then. The line went dead. I stood there, phone still in my hand, chest tight, barely breathing. Then I noticed something scribbled on the back of the wedding invitation. Ryan's handwriting. Just 6 words, but they cut deeper than anything he'd ever said aloud. Bring the $1 million. We'll need it. I sank into Michael's chair, clutching that paper until my tears blurred the ink. My son had chosen money over his father, over me, over everything that ever mattered. And in that moment, I realized the funeral had only been the beginning of my heartbreak. The ballroom glittered under crystal chandeliers as I walked in, wearing the same black dress I'd worn to Michael's funeral. I had nothing else. Heads turned. Whispers brushed past me like wind. Cheap, plain widow. Jessica met me at the entrance, her smile polished and sharp. You made it, she said, her eyes running over me. Then she leaned closer. Did you bring the money? My lips tightened. I came to see my son get married, not to bankroll your honeymoon. Her smile didn't move, but her eyes hardened. We'll see about that. The ceremony was extravagant, rehearsed, expensive, perfect. 200 guests clapped, flashes from cameras never stopping. I sat in the back, invisible. I planned to leave quietly after the vows. But then Ryan's voice cut through the music. Mom, come up here. My stomach twisted. Every head turned as I stood, my hands damp, my legs stiff. When I reached the stage, he threw an arm around my shoulders, smiling too wide. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, tonight isn't just about Jessica and me. It's about family. And my amazing mother is giving us the greatest gift of all. $1 million for our honeymoon. Applause filled the room before the words even sank in. Then came silence. My heart hollowed out. I shook my head. Ryan, no. That's not true. I never agreed to that. His grin faltered. Don't embarrass me. Just say yes. I won't, I whispered. Your father's money isn't for this. The air in the room tightened. Jessica flashed a smirk at the guests as if she already owned me. Ryan's face darkened. It's my right, he snapped. You're old, you don't need it. Stop being selfish. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I felt every one of them like knives. My voice trembled. I buried your father alone. And now you stand here calling me selfish in front of everyone. He leaned in close, his breath hot with anger. Give me the money, Mom. Now. I shook my head, my throat closing. No. The slap landed before I even finished the word. My glasses flew off, clattering across the marble floor. My cheek burned, but the silence that followed hurt more. Not one person moved. Not one voice spoke up for me. 200 faces stared. Some looking away, others whispering, but no one stood. Jessica smoothed her gown, her lips curling. "She's being dramatic," she told the crowd. "Ignore her." I bent down, fumbling for my glasses, my hands shaking. My tears blurred the room, but through them I saw Ryan standing tall, chest puffed out, as if hitting his own mother proved something. My son. My only child. I rose slowly, every part of me trembling. My pride, my heart, everything bled out under their stares. My voice cracked, but I forced the words out. "You'll regret this." Then I turned, clutching my purse, and walked out. Behind me, laughter started again. The music resumed, as if nothing had happened. But inside me something shifted. The pain hardened into resolve. I stepped into the cool night air, pulled out my phone, and with trembling hands, dialed the number I'd kept hidden for years. When the line clicked, my voice came out steady. "It's time. Meet me in 30 minutes. I sat in my car outside the ballroom, my cheeks still stinging from Ryan's slap. My glasses were crooked and I pushed them back up with fingers that wouldn't stop shaking. Inside, the music thumped through the walls, laughter rising every few seconds as if my humiliation had already become just another joke. "He slapped me," I whispered to myself. "My own son." The words echoed in my mind again and again, the sound of it cutting deeper into my heart than into my skin. I unlocked my phone and scrolled through our old messages, years of them. Every demand for money, every excuse when I needed him, every call he ignored. The screen glowed with the truth I'd tried not to see. Michael had been right all along. We should have prepared for this. My thumb hovered, then pressed the first number. A man's voice answered, calm and steady. "Is it time?" he asked. "Yes," I whispered. 30 minutes. The ballroom. "I'll be there," he said, no hesitation. I ended the call and scrolled to the second contact. My chest tightened when I saw her name. A woman I hadn't spoken to in years. The phone rang once, twice. Then a sharp, low voice came through. "Do you need me?" I closed my eyes. "Yes. Tonight." "No. You know where." "Good," she said. "I've been waiting for your call." When I hung up, my hands were steadier. I glanced at the dashboard clock. 30 minutes. That's all it would take to turn this night upside down. I leaned back in my seat, hearing Michael's voice echo in my head. "That night we signed the papers. We have to protect the inheritance, Laura. Don't trust too easily. Not even with Ryan. One day you'll see why." Back then I brushed it off. I couldn't believe a son would ever betray his own mother. But now, sitting there with a bruise burning on my cheek, I knew Michael had seen something I hadn't wanted to face. Inside the ballroom, the crowd cheered again. Toasts, laughter. The celebration of my disgrace. My son's life went on as if his betrayal meant nothing. I clenched my purse in my lap, nails digging into the leather. For 67 years I had lived quietly, giving, forgiving, holding everything together. But that night something inside me snapped. The line had been crossed. The clock ticked louder with every passing second. My eyes stayed fixed on the parking lot entrance, waiting. Then 2 headlights cut through the dark. They slowed, turned in, and rolled toward me. My pulse quickened. They were here. The car stopped. 2 doors opened. Without a word, we walked together toward the glowing entrance of the ballroom. I pushed the doors open and the music faltered as people turned to look. Conversations dropped into whispers. The man straightened his tie, cleared his throat, and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "My name is Daniel," he said firmly, "and I have something to say before this farce continues." Heads turned, all eyes shifting from him to the bride. Jessica's face drained of color. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" she spat, her voice trembling. He smirked bitterly. "What am I doing here? I'm here because you're still my wife." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jessica's hands flew to her chest, eyes wide and wild. No, we divorced years ago." Daniel pulled papers from his jacket. "Divorced? That's strange, Jessica. Because according to this, we're still legally married. You never filed the paperwork. You lied to him, to all of them." The guests murmured, glancing toward Ryan, whose face had gone pale. He stared at his new bride in stunned silence. Before he could speak, the woman beside me stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. She faced Ryan head-on. "And I suppose you thought you were free too," she said, her voice low and dangerous. Ryan frowned. "Who the hell are you?" She looked him straight in the eyes. I'm Emily, your wife. Or did you forget that we never finalized our divorce? Ryan's jaw dropped. That's not true. Not true, she snapped, pulling a stack of papers from her purse. I have the proof. You married her while still married to me. Do you understand what that means? Bigamy. Fraud. The ballroom erupted into chaos. Guests whispered, gasped, stood from their seats. Some pulled out their phones to record. Somewhere in the crowd a man muttered, "This wedding's a damn sham." The photographer lowered his camera. The band stopped playing. Ryan's face turned crimson. He pointed at me, shaking. You did this. You brought them here. My heart raced, but my voice stayed calm. No, Ryan. You did this to yourself. Your lies finally caught up with you. Jessica screamed, her voice cracking. You ruined everything, you pathetic old woman. You planned this. She stormed toward me, her gown dragging across the floor as gasps followed her. Ryan shoved his chair back, fists clenched, eyes burning with rage. The room was spinning with noise. Guests torn between the bride whose marriage was a lie, the groom exposed as a fraud, and me standing quietly at the center of the storm I had created. And as Jessica reached for me, her face twisted with fury, I knew one thing for certain. The worst wasn't over yet. Jessica's scream tore through the ballroom as she lunged toward me, her wedding gown sweeping behind her like a storm. You ruined everything, she shrieked, her hands reaching for me. Gasps rippled around the room, but no one stepped forward. I took a step back, my heart pounding in my chest. Ryan shoved his chair so hard it toppled over with a loud crash, then charged forward, his face red and twisted with rage. You did this, Mom. You brought them here to humiliate me. His fists were clenched, his shoulders squared, and for one terrifying moment I thought he was going to hit me again. I raised a trembling hand. Ryan, stop. I'm your mother. Look at yourself. Look at what you're doing. Look at who you've become. He let out a harsh, bitter laugh. Mother? You stopped being my mother the moment you chose money over me. You care more about that inheritance than your own son. My hands shook, but I forced my voice to stay steady. No. I cared enough to protect it from you. Because you're not the boy I raised. You're a stranger, demanding, taking, destroying everything your father built. His eyes darted toward Emily and Daniel, then back to me. They're liars. All of them. You think you're clever? You think this will stop me? His chest heaved, spit flying as he shouted, You've embarrassed me for the last time. Jessica was almost on me now, her nails outstretched, her eyes wild. You old witch. You won't ruin my life. I braced myself, clutching my purse like a shield. The crowd stood frozen, phones raised, some recording, others backing away in fear. Whispers filled the room like a rising tide. Call security, someone muttered, but no one moved. My heart pounded so hard I could barely breathe. I closed my eyes for a moment and whispered Michael's name under my breath, praying for strength. When I opened them, Ryan's arm was drawn back, his face twisted with hatred, and Jessica's scream rose higher as she lunged again. Then it happened. The doors slammed open, crashing against the walls. Police, a voice shouted. Officers poured into the ballroom, their presence slicing through the chaos like lightning. The music stopped. Guests screamed. For a heartbeat, the entire room froze. Jessica stumbled, turning toward them, her hands still half raised in fury. Ryan's face dropped, all that bravado draining away. What is this? Who called them? He demanded, his voice cracking. One officer stepped forward, his tone sharp. Ryan Miller and Jessica Johnson stepped back immediately. You are under investigation. Hands where we can see them. Jessica's mouth fell open. This is our wedding. You can't do this. She tried to push past, but the officer caught her wrists and snapped handcuffs around them. Her scream echoed off the chandeliers. No. This isn't happening. Not tonight. Ryan stumbled backward, shaking his head. No, this is a mistake. I didn't do anything. He tried to shove the officer, but two others grabbed him, twisting his arms behind his back. The sharp click of metal cuffs was louder than the music had ever been. Gasps, whispers, the glow of cell phones recording. It all blurred around me. My son, the boy I had once rocked to sleep, was being dragged across a ballroom floor in handcuffs on his wedding night. Jessica thrashed against the officers, her veil tearing, her face twisted with rage. You planned this, she screamed at me. You set us up. Ryan locked eyes with me as they pulled him toward the doors. His voice cracked, low, broken, almost pleading. Mom, how could you? I pressed a trembling hand to my chest, trying to breathe, trying not to fall apart. The officers led them out as the guests parted like a wave, silent, stunned, phones capturing every second. Then one of the officers turned to me. His expression softened, though his tone stayed firm. Ma'am, he said quietly, we need to speak with you. It concerns your inheritance. My breath caught in my throat. The room spun around me. The courthouse smelled faintly of paper, coffee, and nerves. I sat with a folder in my lap, my hands gripping it so tightly the corners bent. My lawyer leaned closer and whispered, "Stay calm. You're ready for this." I nodded, though my stomach twisted into knots. When the judge entered, everyone stood. Ryan sat just a few feet away, his suit wrinkled, his face drawn but still defiant. He glanced at me and smirked, as if this was just another game he was sure he'd win. The judge cleared his throat. "Mr. Miller, please state your claim." Ryan stood quickly, his voice sharp. "It's simple, Your Honor. My mother is withholding money that rightfully belongs to me, my father's inheritance. $1 million. She's hoarding it and I deserve it. I'm his son. It's mine." The judge turned to me. "Mrs. Miller?" I rose slowly, my knees aching, my hands trembling as I held the folder to my chest. My voice cracked at first, but I steadied it. "Your Honor," I said, "my husband and I planned carefully. This inheritance is legally protected. It's in my name, in a trust, with documents proving full ownership. My son has no legal claim to it. My husband made sure of that before he passed." Ryan slammed his fist against the table. "She's lying. She's twisting everything so she can keep it all. My father would have wanted me to have it." I clutched the folder tighter. "Your father wanted it safe, Ryan. Safe from greed. He trusted me to protect it," I said quietly. The judge raised a hand. "Mr. Miller, that's enough. Sit down. We'll review the documents." Ryan glared at me, his voice low but sharp as glass. "You're pathetic, Mom. You think you're clever? This isn't over." My lawyer slid the folder forward. Every page, every signature, every date. Proof of what Michael had carefully prepared years ago. The judge scanned through the papers, silent for a long moment, then looked up. "It's clear," he said firmly, "that the inheritance belongs solely to Mrs. Miller. Case dismissed." The words hit me like a breath I'd been holding for months. My knees nearly gave out with relief. I closed my eyes, whispering under my breath, "Michael, we did it. Safe." But when I opened them, Ryan's face was red, his jaw locked, his fists clenched tight. He stormed past me, his shoulder brushing mine as he muttered in a voice that made my stomach drop. "You won today. But you'll regret this, Mom." I froze, watching him disappear through the courthouse doors. For a moment I felt peace. Justice had finally been served. But his words lingered, heavy and dark. I thought the storm had passed. I was wrong. The scandal didn't fade. It spread like wildfire. Everywhere I went, whispers followed. At the grocery store, I caught two women by the produce section staring before one leaned toward the other and whispered, "That's her, the woman whose son slapped her at his own wedding." When they noticed I'd heard, their faces softened. For the first time, people didn't just pity me, they respected me. Almost admired me because I had survived something most couldn't imagine. But hearing it out loud still twisted in my chest. My son had become a public disgrace. Videos of the slap replayed online. News headlines popped up everywhere. Groom arrested on wedding night. Family fortune ends in chaos. I didn't search for them, but they always found me. And even though the shame should have been his alone, it clung to me too. One afternoon the phone rang. An old friend's voice came through, soft and hesitant. "Laura, I don't even know what to say. I saw the video. I'm so sorry." I let out a small, tired laugh. "Don't be. I didn't create that mess. He did." Days later, I overheard my neighbors talking outside my window. "He's lost his job," one said. "And Jessica left him," the other replied. "Packed her things and vanished." There was a pause, then a sigh. "Greed eats people alive." Their words sank deep into me. He had chosen her. He had chosen money. He had chosen everything but the family that loved him, and now, one by one, it was all slipping through his fingers. A few weeks later, I passed the bulletin board at the post office and saw his name printed on a public eviction notice. My heart clenched. I could still picture the little boy who once cried when he scraped his knee, the boy who begged me to stay by his bed until he fell asleep. And now that same name was tied to debt, lawsuits, and humiliation. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. I was empty, hollowed out by grief that had nowhere left to go. At the market one day, a man stopped me near the checkout. "Ma'am," he said gently, "what your son did, it was unforgivable. But you showed real strength." I nodded, though my throat burned. I didn't feel strong. I just felt finished. Because the truth kept circling in my mind no matter how I tried to escape it. I had lost Michael to death and Ryan to greed. Both were gone from me in different ways. But late at night, when I lay awake staring at the ceiling, I could still hear Michael's voice. "Protect what we built." And I realized maybe that was the price. I hadn't just saved the inheritance. I had saved my dignity. Ryan had chosen his path, and though it broke my heart, I was finally learning to accept it. Just when I thought I could finally breathe again, I opened my mailbox one quiet morning and froze. There was an envelope with Ryan's handwriting across the front. My chest tightened as I held it, my hands trembling. I thought I had already lived through the worst, but seeing his name, his familiar, messy writing, nearly sent me to my knees. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. I carried it to the kitchen table and just stared at it for a long time, my heart pounding so loud I could hear it. Finally, I tore it open and unfolded the letter. His words came rushing out, uneven, desperate. "Mom, please. I've lost everything. Jessica's gone. I have no home, no job, no money. I'm sick. I need you. Please don't turn your back on me. Help me. I'm still your son." I read it once. Then again. My vision blurred with tears I didn't want to shed. "Still my son." I whispered into the empty kitchen. "Where were you when your father was dying? When I begged you to come? Where were you when you slapped me in front of everyone, demanding money like I owed you?" My hands shook as I pressed the letter flat against the table. Memories flooded back. The hospital, the funeral, the wedding, the courtroom. Every moment when he could have chosen love. He chose greed instead. I picked up the phone, ready to call him, but my hand froze halfway. What would I even say? That I forgave him? That I'd give him one more chance? Slowly I set the phone back down. "No," I whispered. "Not this time." My chest ached with the weight of it, but deep down I knew the truth. Saving him again would only destroy me. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in the drawer beside Michael's wedding ring. My palm rested on the wood as if I could speak to him through it. "I love him, Michael. God knows I do. But love doesn't mean I let him keep breaking me." Instead of writing a reply, I opened another folder, the one with the foundation papers. The lawyer had drawn them up weeks earlier at my request. Funds set aside. Protected. Untouchable. A foundation for women like me, women whose families tried to strip them bare. I signed the last page with steady hands. And for the first time in a long time I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Control. The house was quiet, the only sound the steady tick of the clock on the wall. I leaned back in my chair, my fingers resting on the drawer where Ryan's letter lay. My voice came out as barely more than a whisper. "This is the last time I save you." And with that, I let the silence close around me, heavy, final, unbroken. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you've been through something like this, share your story in the comments.